Hi, welcome to a new episode of the Console Log. Thanks for tuning in. There is a new episode this week, as you can see, because you're watching it this week. This is the week of January 29th through February 4th. We are now into the second month of 2018. How's your 2018 going? Mine's having a pretty good time so far. A little bit cooler than I would like to, but you don't really need to hear about all these things. I always enjoy hearing about how people are enjoying this show because your encouragement helps me feel encouraged to keep going on with the show. So I got a nice Twitter direct message this past week. Somebody is actually using these videos weekly in their team to actually keep up with the latest trends in the world of JavaScript and the front end, which is awesome to hear because that's what I've been doing for my team at work anyways. So having that also be something that you use in your own team, having this be just recorded and having me just be able to push play and not having to actually fly me out to your office location makes things a lot easier and more fun. So please let me know if you are enjoying this show, how you're enjoying it, how you wish things could be a little bit better, things that you wish I would just tweak a little bit to make it a little bit more pleasant for your learning and viewing experience. With that being said, let's get on with episode 25. First news item of the week is AngularJS. Now I say that very clearly, AngularJS is the 1.0 branch of Angular. Sorry, Angular being the 2.0 branch. It's a little bit confusing, I'm confused by it, but in any case, Angular, the team, announced that the version of AngularJS, the 1.x series, is going to have one more release, version 1.7, and then it's going to enter into long-term support, and then for 3 years, so it's going to be supported for 3 years with the priority bug fixes and security flaws. Then after 3 years, it's being... So if you are still using AngularJS, this is a warning call to you that there is a end of life in sight for the framework. So you're safe now. There's going to be 3 years of support from July 1st, 2018 of this year till June 30th of 2021 is when they'll no longer be adding back. There's 3 things bugs that will have to satisfy this criteria. One is a security flaw. One is if a new browser breaks something in Angular, and also if jQuery also releases something that breaks Angular. So those are the only 3 things that the Angular team will be additionally adding to the AngularJS framework. So if you are still using AngularJS and it's your main application, it might be a good time to start thinking about where you're going in the future because AngularJS will not always be there. So RIP AngularJS, not quite yet, but you know, it's definitely in that tunnel of light going towards its demise of the recycle bin. So bye. TypeScript 2.7 was released this past week. Sweet, very cool, very nice, very awesome. The biggest feature about TypeScript 2.7 that I'm excited about is a new ECMAScript module interoperability mode. That's not how you say interoperability. I can't say that word, which is why I can't say it. When I tried using TypeScript a couple months ago, I found there was a bit of a rough patch when going from my usages of ES modules and CommonJS modules with Babel and Webpack, and then going towards TypeScript. The way in which TypeScript handles imports has been historically subtly different than Webpack and Babel. With TypeScript, before 2.7, they considered the module.exports object to be the thing that you are importing from other modules. So the easier way to explain this is that before TypeScript 2.7, if you want to actually create a Express application with TypeScript, you'd have to import star as X from Express and then invoke it. However, now with TypeScript 2.7, you can add a new flag called ES module interop, which has TypeScript behave more like Babel and Webpack, which I find a little bit more ergonomic and easier to use, so that you can just say import Express from Express, and then you can just create the instance from there. So that's a small little thing that I'm excited about. It should make the path towards migrating towards TypeScript a little bit easier, less confusing. There are other features in the TypeScript release, so that's the one that I'm most excited about. Definitely read it if you are a TypeScript user, but very cool to see the ecosystem start to actually congeal around commonalities and familiarities and things that are not different. A cool thing that was released this past week, not really released, it was put into beta, is this new website called Observable, observablehq.com. And the big thing why I'm excited about this is that 2 of the core founders of this team are pretty big people in the web ecosystem. One is Mike Bostock, Bostock. I hope I said that right. He has the pronunciation in his profile everywhere, so if I get that wrong, I apologize. But he is of D3 fame. He made D3, so he's behind Observable, and also Jeremy Ashkenaz, who originally made Backbone.js and _JS, who is also a core member of this new website. And what this thing does is from what I've heard, it's similar to Jupyter Notebooks, which is a thing from, I think, the Python world. But what it means is that you can actually write these documents that will interactively update and be responsive to the data that you put inside of it. Have you ever looked into like Swift storyboards or what's it called? Storybooks, the interactive Swift things, the Swift from iOS. It's similar to this, but essentially you can say, x equals 5, and you can use that x variable later on in the document. I actually have these rich notebooks, so as you are experimenting and trying to understand things, you can actually put it in there and see things update in real time. It's a very cool website, very interactive. You can make graphs, you can make canvas images. It's very rich. Anything you can do on the web, you can do it here, as it will respond to updates as well. So I just wanted to plug that. I was playing around with it this past week. It's pretty neat, it's pretty cool. It makes it easier to share some ideas that you might have with your teammates and also people on the internet. So definitely check it out. It's in beta, but it still looks pretty damn polished so far. Last but not least, our favorite energy drink, V8. I'm kidding. That is the JavaScript engine behind Chrome. Released a new version 6.5 this past week. One of the cool new exciting things from this new release is speed increases across the board for some common array prototype functions that you use every day. Those functions being reduce write, find index, sum, and every. The big one I'm excited about, obviously, is the increase in speed for reduce, because I use that all the time. So you're not going to see this right now. It's going to come out in a future Chrome version, but just giving you an FYI that if you are using reduce and you are concerned about speed, which you should not be, things are going to be faster and better and stronger. And that was your week of links. Not the most bombastic week. Last week was a little bit too jam-packed for my taste, but still some things that you should be aware of as you go forward into the land of JavaScript and Node. But I hope you had a good week of coding. The Groundhog saw its shadow, so there are a couple more weeks of winter, which means that your excuse for staying in and coding is still valid or invalid, depending upon your point of view. Who am I to tell you what to do with your time? I just spend my time talking to a camera by myself.